Hello everybody and welcome to 7 Days to Die. This is a very special episode where I've just come out of what we were doing with our Versus Z series, where we were taking on plenty of zombies all the time. Excellent. But today we're on a special one. I've had some comments, questions, etc. about some of the settings to do with 7 Days to Die, so I thought I'd do a special one just to cover a few things and hopefully give a better understanding of how the game works and why sometimes the thing the game does causes problems with your settings, your FPS and stuff like that. I know some people have got big computers that are running it and have no problems up until one stage, and then sometimes people are just having problems constantly. So hopefully we can help that out today. So as always, I am the Rugged Gamer and I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. So I've been playing Ark now for a hell of a long time. And when I first started trying to do the YouTube series, I was playing it on the Xbox, so I never thought about settings, and I've covered it on the Xbox game as well as the PC version. Obviously, the PC version is much further ahead with the updates and whatnot. Obviously, at the moment, there is no updates for the Xbox and PS4 version because, obviously, Telltale, who were running the game, had it, and they've now kind of dissolved and it's now gone back to the original developers, or at least some form of the original developers. They have no plans at the moment to update it because it's a completely different kind of language that the game's in, so they've ported it and they're having some issues with that kind of side of things, and I don't know whether or not they plan to or if they're just going to keep it as it is. Now, one thing to make note of is on the Xbox and the PS4, technically that is a full game. On the PC, it is still in alpha. It is still an alpha game. And obviously with alpha games, the more they bring in, the less likely they are going to have them optimized. So that sometimes has some effect on your settings. And obviously, when it's not optimized fully, there's things that make it struggle to run. So if you're running even a decent computer and you start to see effects like that, that's sometimes down to the developers just not optimizing it fully. Now, I'm not a developer at all. I have some very basic coding experience, so that's, I understand it in that sense, but other than that, I've nothing much more, so I only go off what obviously I've researched as to why I had problems in the beginning, because I've had problems myself, even with trying to record, but then obviously people have now commented on my latest videos going, wow, your computer's running it better than my computer runs it. People are running lesser powered games and struggling to run it as well as mine does. Now, that's down to a few things that I've done differently. It's not necessarily down to having a faster PC. I run a 1080 Ti graphics card. Now, if you're interested in what my full setup is, if you want to see what it is, it's not a grand thing. It's pretty decent for gaming. I've had no problems with any games whatsoever. I've run World of Warcraft completely on high resolution. I run 7 Days to Die. I run Ark. I run any big games. I run Arma 3. And with Arma 3, the advantage I have is I have an SSD that I stick it on, so it makes it run a lot faster. But there's things like that. So if you're interested in the settings, then I can obviously pass them on to yourselves so you can see what they are. The specs. Now, one thing, there's two main things I want to discuss about today. The first one is why your game may be lagging. Now, as you can see, I'm roaming quite well here. I've got no issues. There's no zombies out there, really. There's nothing really causing any lag. Now obviously I've got the advantage of having God mode on this. If we drop out here, now if I spawn in, we'll move away from this because I'll use this for a minute. Now you notice my FPS is showing there. Now the more I do things, the more I move around, my FPS drops, but it's staying above 30 FPS. If we bring in here now, I don't want to do that. You'll notice my FPS is sat at about 60 odd, so that's not too bad. I'd say that's pretty average for a game like this because it's still running things in the background. Okay, so if we go in here now obviously I'm using God mode, as I said. I can spawn in things, so if we come in here, we can spawn 25 at a time, and we'll just spawn in some zombie Arlenes. Now you notice my FPS, it's taking a hint, but not too bad. The more we spawn in, as you can see now, I've spawned in about 75 zombies there. And I'm not getting much issues, but they're just running around. If I drop in where they can attack me, my FPS starts taking a bit of an effect. But realistically, not a massive problem. So, in that sense, I should be able to play the game quite easily. Well, if we just get rid of all these. There we go. We can hear ourselves think. I'm not running the game. At the moment, the server is running the game. Now, in this, I am actually running it on single player. This is more to do with the series that I play and most of the recordings that I do. Other than the ones that I've been doing, showing off these, which were earlier on, all the beginner's guides of late, and the series of late is run on a dedicated server. What that means is my computer only runs what I have here. If I have another player join me, my computer then has to load their side and my own side and try and play both. So straight away that has an effect on your settings. Now, to some extent it runs a lot in the background on your client side anyway. Whereas if you can move it over to a server side, so it's a good idea to have a look at playing on a server. There's plenty of dedicated servers out there. I run one which is open to people in my community. If you'd like to join, then check out the description below. There is a Discord there which will have all the details, and I play with the community, so we have a bit of a collab. At the moment it's a bit quiet because we're currently playing a lot of Ark. However, there are people on here that do play. Not this specific one. This is my test zone. On the actual server itself, I don't want to run the hours up because I don't use God mode on there. That's purely survival completely through and through. For all the players, even the admins, they don't use their admin mode unless we get trolls on there. So that's one big thing to think about. The next thing is I will actually show you my settings here now. My video settings. You'll notice there isn't really much you can do. I do have a custom setting, and there is a couple of things I've dropped down and dropped off. Obviously, I've turned my motion blur off because that caused issues with my recordings. But most of the things I've got are set to high, and I'm happy with that. The only thing I have changed is the shadow distance. That does make a massive effect. I've put that near so it's a bit easier. But take a look at it if you want to use that. That should adjust a few things. It should help. If you're still having problems and you have an SSD, think about putting your game on an SSD. I think mine's currently on my main SSD, which runs it quite nicely. Because obviously I have to use my recording software as well. But the last thing I want to talk about, which is the real issue that a lot of people are having. If I just drop my God mode off now, you'll notice above my FPS is a thing called heat chunk. You notice from here to here, it changes. The whole world is set up with chunks. It's a 16 by 16 chunk. And in each of these block areas, chunks, whatever you want to call them, what actions happen in that chunk affects the surrounding world. What I mean by that is it's called a heat map. And a heat map is good to understand if you want to play the game properly. As in, like, if you want to avoid things like screamers coming in. Now, there used to be a spider zombie that used to scout around. It used to look at all these heat maps that were generated. Because everything you have here, everything you do, if there's dead bodies, they cause heat. Furnaces, campfires, anything at all that you're doing causes heat chunks. Heat in your chunk. That heat then has a set level at which it then starts to say something's happening here. So then a scouting zombie will come in. There are also chances, if you're generating quite a lot of traffic in your area, that you cause a pit stop horde to appear. Now, the difference between a screamer and a pit stop horde is that a screamer is only one person. If you kill her, then you're not too bad. She will keep appearing if your heat is generating quite high. The pit stop horde will aim for you. They will head towards you. Or your general heat map area. As in, if you've got a lot of furnaces going, they will more than likely try and smash your door down. They will try and get in and they'll start breaking stuff like campfires, workbenches, that kind of stuff. They will try and break everything. The only thing they don't do is spawn during horde night. and they can include screamers. Now, the reason why I mention all this is because, not necessarily because of the problems of having screamers and hordes turning up. Sometimes you may want that. But it's worth just noting it because, obviously, if you want to avoid it, then you need to keep an eye out on what you're spawning. Now, I'm going to get myself some furnaces. Furnace. Actually, can we get the blast? Let's try and actually on all. So furnace. Okay, that's not what I want. Let's have a look. F blocks. Got all of our blocks here, so it's not searching for the furnace for some reason. Forge, that's why, because it's called a forge. Can't even remember what someone's called. I don't know why they're not stacking, but there you go. If we got ourselves some forges in here. Okay, now you notice the heat hasn't changed yet. You can have these forges in. We'll put a few more down. We'll chuck this one in as well. Okay, now, reason why I'm mentioning this is because, again, if you're running your game on your client side, this is going to affect it. So at the moment, we've got absolutely nothing affecting us. There's no events, there's no heat generation, we're on 0%. If we start putting in, let's split this down. We don't need all this wood. Okay, right, so let's put it in the right place. We'll turn it on. There you go, one event, 6%. Whilst that runs, that will continue generating 6%. We turn it off. Our one event drops, or it should drop at some stage. It takes a moment, it'll tick off. It does take quite a while. But it will drop down to 0. Not only does it affect the chunk we're in here, but if you notice we changed chunks to here, it is also affected this chunk here. It does this basically every surrounding chunk. So there's this one plus 4 others on each corner, on each side, and it will affect it. If that generates enough, that's when you start triggering your scouting zombies and your hordes. What that means for you and for your game's performance is your game's running this in the background. This heat map is being ran in the background. It's remembering things, it's working it all out, it's surrounding areas, it's quite a large area that it's covering, and it's causing more zombies to spawn. Now, if there's not just, so there's other effects that happen as well, more zombies will appear and stuff like that. Obviously the two main things is what happens, but the basic, well, the full description of it is that if the player performs certain activities in a small area, which is this area here, the heat of that area will increase. If the heat level is high enough, there's a chance that it will be set to around half of its value, and a certain event will happen near the affected zone, your scouting zombie or your hordes. The higher the heat of an area, the more likely that such an event will happen. 100 points will instantly reset the counter. What does that mean? So basically, if I keep doing this loads, and I'm doing other things, and things are starting to tick over constantly, there are certain things that ticks over constantly. Things like the campfire has frequencies. I think it's like every 25 seconds or so, I think it is. The worst one being, well, that is probably one of the worst ones. Campfires, cement mixers, forges, chemistry stations, workbenches, burning barrels, things that burn, basically, things that do stuff, things that are being controlled. So, things like that are causing this heat. Now, obviously, this is 6%, but if I don't turn it on again, and then I turn this one on, I put it in the right place, you see straight away we're starting to eat into this. can't even put it in the right place. We've just got 3 going here, so 18% now. So this now is affecting all of the surrounding area, which is going to affect your performance. You know, it's something else running in the background. Now, somebody mentioned to me that when they were using electrical stuff, after a while it was just causing so much lag on the game. This is one of the reasons why. I've done this with Forges just to show you. And it's not down to the actual heat, it's down to what is happening. So, you know, when you're talking about how much heat you've got, so, you know, how much attention you've got. When you're using electrical stuff, that can increase massively. Lights and stuff like that, they cause problems. Your generators and noise levels, all sorts of things. All that is building this map and it's causing issues with your performance. So bear that in mind. If you're still having massive problems and you've had to reduce down, or you don't want to reduce down, then I strongly suggest you play on a dedicated server. That way the heat map is ran on the server side and not the client side. And that will make a massive difference to your performance. I've noticed the difference when I've played single player in the past to when I play on the server. Hopefully this has just given you a little bit of help. I know it's only something simple, but I've had a lot of people comment on it as to why, you know, why it's running so well. That's one of the major reasons why, is because I'm on a server rather than I'm on single player. Obviously the other things that I mentioned I take into account. Bear all that in mind, and bear in mind I have an encoder that helps me make the gameplay look a little bit sharper in some areas. But you've seen the settings. I'm running a 1080 Ti. So I'm using a Ryzen 7 AMD 2700X 8-core processor, 3.7 GHz one, and I've got 32 gig of RAM. But obviously I'm using the 1080 as I've mentioned, so hopefully you're running something like that or something better. And if you're still having the problems, then please take advice as to what I've done here. Certainly have a look at playing it online. You're having a great experience playing it online anyway, and hopefully performance will be noticeably different. Thank you very much everybody for checking out this small, simple video regarding the settings. Hopefully it helps somebody, hopefully it clears out some ideas. Please get back to me if it hasn't, or if it has, let me know. And if you've got any other questions or anything like that, if there's anything at all I can help you with, I'm more than happy to make special videos like this. I really enjoy doing things like this, which is a bit out of the normal. And it's helping people at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. And I thoroughly enjoy playing this game. And hopefully you're looking forward to seeing more of my VS Zombie, VSZ series. Heisenblog, a big shout out to him. He's been playing the server and he's jumped us over the Horde mode at the time of this recording. But that's not a problem. It doesn't affect us massively. It just means we don't get to have a second Horde night. That means our base stays intact. But thank you very much to Heisenblog for joining us on the server. He will be there and about, and I know Sheik Gamer from Team Skychew Discord will be joining us as well, and possibly USMC Sky himself. Hopefully you're enjoying that series as well. If you haven't already checked it out, make sure you do. Until next time everybody, take care for now, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye bye for now.